Harville Hendricks.
I'm Helen McKelly Hunt.
And we are partners in life and partners in work. And our work has been the development of a couples therapy called Imago Relationship Therapy. And before we introduce you to and get you into this lecture, we would like to welcome you in the way we welcome everyone in all of our workshops and seminars and public lectures, and that is to affirm you deeply about who you are as a human being, which is both an affirmation of you and also a statement about the nature of nature. So here's what we do, which is to say to you, you are wonderful. And that is the truth. And we like to do that because it brings positive energy to the beginning of a lecture.
And it's true.
And because it's true that that's the fundamental assumption that we operate out of regarding human nature, who human beings are, is that human beings are creatures of wonder, that it is, according to all scientific studies about how we got here, our being here is a miracle and a wonder, and the wonder of being. And that we are not only here and creatures of wonder, but we are connected to and with and interacting with everything in the universe. And when we experience that connection, we feel joyfully alive. Mm-hmm. And we know that most of us do not feel joyfully alive. And that's because something happened to us early in our lives, in our infancy and childhood, that ruptured the experience of connection. It didn't rupture the connection itself, but ruptured the experience of connection. So that's the assumption on which we built this theory and which we built this therapy. And so we'd like to introduce you a little bit to that. Now, the first thing to say is that Helen and I met about nearly 48 years ago now, and we've been married 43 years and almost divorced twice. And that
we love telling our couples that, so don't think their partner is the weird one. We're pretty weird, but we're really wonderful.
Yeah, and so we have used this process to transcend the impasse that our own differences and our inability to overcome those differences did. So we've done that, and so we want to just clarify that every step of the way that we evolved as a couple, even before we were married, the Imago and the theory and the therapy began. Little tiny thing. And I remember, Helen, that the first thing that happened when we first met and had our first conversation was that we talked about how come we're divorced. Mm-hmm. And do you remember talking about that a little bit and wondering how could anybody as beautiful and wonderful as you be divorced, and how can I was an academic and a professor and not too bad looking and be divorced? How would that happen? And we got to talking about how does anybody get divorced? What is divorce about? Which ultimately led to what is conflict about and what is all conflict about, and ultimately then led to the question, well, what does make it possible to have a marriage that is that survives, and not only survives but thrives. Mm-hmm. So we spent a lot of time talking about that.
Yeah, we're relational beings, and we don't feel happy if we don't have successful relationships. Yeah.